welcome back. Welcome back to the Live More with Ray show. For the last couple of weeks, we have just been honing in and learning about this whole concept of Medicare. We're here to support families, our seniors, our caregivers, all in understanding what Medicare is about, what are the various definitions of words that are used, and how we can help you. If you haven't seen our episodes prior to this, we talked about the different plans, the different enrollment periods of time. We answered several questions. So Dale and I, Mr. Alexander, are going to continue our conversation about Medicare. Let me tell you, there's so much information I could fall backwards on this. I'm learning as you're learning. I just want to make sure that you and your family and your loved ones understand. If you don't catch it all, email us. We're answering questions. We're talking to various groups. We do workshops. All that is for free. We can come and support you so that you and your family can have what you need. Now, if you haven't understood Medicare and you're like, what the heck is this? Join the crowd. Join me, because I'm in the section that says Medicare for dummies. Not that I'm dumb and not that you're dumb, but I just feel like, where in the world and where in the heck did all of this come from? Like, they didn't tell me any of this in school. But we're living and learning. So I'm excited about that. Why don't you help me welcome Mr. Dale Alexander, who is going to help us go even further in our journey.
Thank you so much for the welcome, Ms. Brown. Good to be back and to continue talking about Medicare.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great conversation. You've helped us so far with so much information. And I thought today that we would just continue that journey.
Sounds good.
So where would you like to start?
Well, we could start by just revisiting what we talked about since we've started talking, because something you shared with me and I know is very true, repetition helps us to understand more.
Correct.
And I always think about my multiplication tables. The more I heard it, the more I understood it.
Right.
So, and as you said, with Medicare, there's just so much information. And for me, being a licensed insurance agent and having to certify every year in order to market Medicare products, I'm amazed every year. It's just overpowering the amount of information.
Right. And I think for me as well, being licensed and all that, but the other piece is I'm getting closer to it. And I don't want to miss it either. And we've taken care of parents that,
Yes,
my goodness,
yes.
and then, they're asking us questions and we're like, so we went and got licensed. So Medicare, what is Medicare?
Medicare is health coverage that is provided to all Americans and all who are residents of the U.S. And we have to say legally, by the federal government. Okay, and that medical coverage is usually available. It becomes available. The main activator of it is turning the age of 65.
Correct.
Also, if you are younger than 65 but are experiencing certain disabilities, the two main ones being end-stage renal disease or kidney failure, or ALS, which is commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. That also qualifies you for Medicare if you have those disabilities.
Right, and we talked about understanding the options. So we have
We have, with Medicare, we have Parts A,
Part A,
Part B,
Part
C, and Part D.
Okay.
Now,
go ahead.
Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B are considered what's known as original Medicare. And that's how you get it directly from the government. Part A covers your hospitalization, inpatient hospital care, also skilled nursing care, also hospice care. And Part B covers your medical care in the sense of that'll cover your doctor visits, any outpatient medical care, as well as Oh, what else is Part B?
You have your equipment.
Your durable medical equipment, which would be your walkers or your wheelchairs,
or a bed,
and or a hospital bed if you need that in your home, and it's a long list of things associated with that, and also some drugs are covered under Part B as well.
Okay, and then we have Part C.
Then we have Part C. And what Part C is, that is Medicare coverage that's provided by private health plans.
Okay.
That the government, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, they basically license or certify certain private health companies to provide Medicare coverage that's known as Medicare Advantage.
Got it. So, and then we have Part D.
Then we have Part D, and Part D covers your prescription drugs, prescription drugs.
Right, and then Part.
I heard there's a Part E, but I don't know enough about it.
Right. Okay.
To share it with with our listeners.
Right. So that's great. That is a mouthful, and we wanted to make sure that in this episode we let the listeners know and the viewers know that they can look all of this up. Where
they can look it up. One of your key resources is Medicare.gov, and make sure it's .gov. It's not .com, but Medicare.gov.
Right.
And at Medicare.gov, that is the government website that basically tells you everything pertaining to Medicare.
Right.
You can also look in, and if you are Medicare eligible, you would get this. And I know we can't zoom in on it, but this is Medicare and You. This is an old one from 2021, but this is a publication provided by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services that gives you a lot of detail about Medicare as well.
Right. So just so you know, I know we showed you a 2021 book. Now everything's pretty much digital. So this is the one we had, but there is a 2024 one that's available.
Yes.
Especially at this time of year.
Yes.
So we just want to make sure that we're not moving too fast. We've said a whole lot. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And if you're going to email us, please email us, and in the subject area put Medicare, right? So Dale's email address is dalealexanderinsurance@gmail.com. dalealexanderinsurance@gmail.com. And mine, the show, Live More with Ray, you can email us, livemorewithray@gmail.com. We're here to serve. This is a lot of information. I can see someone right now running. Say it again. That's livemorewithray@gmail.com. And that's Ray with an E, RAE. And that's dalealexanderinsurance@gmail.com. So we got a little bit of information out. We have all the parts out.
Right.
Okay. We want to hit on the...
Well, as it pertains to the parts, I want to just let you know that your Part B, the Part A, most Americans receive automatically. Once you turn the age of 65, you qualify for that automatically. If you don't qualify for it automatically, the Social Security Administration should let you know that. Okay? However, as we shared in the last show when we spoke, some homework that you may want to do is contact the Social Security Administration when you're approaching the age of 65 to find out, do I have what's known as all my quarters or all my units in place so that I can get Medicare. Part B, which is, as we said, your medical coverage, that carries a premium with it. Okay, that carries a premium with it each year. In 2023, that premium was $164.70, I think. Usually that premium is deducted out of your Social Security payments. But now that Social Security, people are not aging into Social Security coverage until beyond the age of 65.
Right.
That if you sign up for Part B, which is voluntary, you may have to pay those. You may be billed for that premium.
Okay.
But I will say this to you: if you don't sign up for Part B coverage at the proper time, you are subject to a penalty that will stay with you for as long as you have Part B coverage.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I get penalized for not remembering to do something?
Yes, that's a strong possibility.
Yeah, and the reason why we bring that up is because that's very dear to my heart. You know, I actually know a loved one that I've been helping ended up like that, and it wasn't their fault. It happened that their job during COVID didn't send them the right information, and they didn't know. So listen, I know this is a whole lot, and I know you can do it all by yourself, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, but please get someone that you can have a conversation with, that you make sure you're crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. It's important. This is your health. This is all about you, and we don't want you to suffer any more than you suffered. You worked all these years to be blessed. We need for you to gather all your blessings. Okay?
Indeed.
All right. So, and now next, so the penalty piece.
The penalty piece.
Yeah, that penalty piece is hefty. So, can you just reiterate that in layman's terms?
With the penalty, you can end up paying extra, more than you need to pay, if you don't sign up for Part B of Medicare at the proper time. Now, the main thing that protects you from not having to pay that penalty is that if you have what Medicare calls creditable coverage. So for many of us in our current society, many people are working well beyond the age of 65.
Correct.
So if you have a job, or if your spouse has a job that provides your family with medical coverage, you don't have to sign up for Part B at that time.
Right.
But as soon as you leave that job, or as soon as you're getting ready to leave that job,
or your loved one leaves
or your loved one, your spouse is getting ready to retire or leave that job, and that you know that coverage is going away, you want to sign up for your Part B Medicare at that point.
Right, because it's my understanding that you have a certain amount of month period of time to do
yes,
so.
Yes,
right?
You have an 8-month period of time in what is known as a special enrollment period.
Right.
We also talked about enrollment periods, which we'll get to in a minute.
Right.
But you have a SEP, or special enrollment period, that carries for 8 months after you lose that creditable coverage. Okay. Where you can sign up for Part B without having a penalty. Woo! Okay, but now, I want you to understand this, because sometimes people think, oh, penalty, it can't be that much. Is 10%. If you miss the opportunity to sign up for Part B, and let's say you don't get an opportunity to sign up for it for another 12 months. Right. That penalty is going to be 10% of your monthly Part B premium. So if it's $165, which is what basically the Part B premium was this year in 2023, that's going to be $165 plus $16.50.
Right, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for some seniors and some of us that are receiving a certain limited amount of money, that's a lot of money. $16, can't get you much, but it adds up.
And that's every month.
Right, and that's every month.
That's every month. Right. And that's also for the duration of having Part B.
Right. So that's for the rest of your life, right?
Basically. For the rest of the time you have Part B.
We don't need to be giving money back. People, come on. We can add it up and buy a cup of coffee. I don't know. Yeah. But we'll be able to do something with it. And I want to say this to you. Why is this so heavy on my heart? One, I'm getting close, right? And number two, this information that we're talking about is so important for the rest of our lives. When you really do the assessment of what it takes to live after employment, you have to take all of this into consideration. Your caregivers have to take all of this into consideration. And the way the world is, things are not getting less expensive, right? It's even more expensive to die. So that being said, we have to be prepared and we have to have these hard conversations. I know you can do this all by yourself, but I said this earlier. Get a group of people and have this conversation. If you live with if you live around other seniors or other people that are aging and all that, have the conversation. Stop with this nonsense. We'll deal with it later. Later is now. Because things are changing, they're changing quickly, and they're talking about stuff that we don't have any clue. And you see it on the television, you see the commercials, you see the emphasis on certain things. Please, ma'am, please, sir, take the time. You have two people, and I hear this all the time. Everybody wants money to just do that. No, we're really serving our community. We want to support you. Yes, good. Indeed. So let's talk about was that all that you wanted to?
There's one other thing, but I'm only going to touch on this briefly because I know we'll get a chance to talk about it again. Okay. And it's another penalty, and it has to do with Part D. Part D for your prescription drug coverage. There is a 1% penalty for prescription drug Part D if you don't sign up for that at the proper time, or if the coverage that you've had lapses for a 63-day period. Right. But we'll talk about that again.
Right. So far you're talking about 11% at this point if you mess up.
Yeah. But fortunately, the Part D penalty, even though it would stay with you for as long as you have Part D, it's not as impactful as that Part B penalty. Right. But I know we spoke last time about enrollment periods. Okay. And I just mentioned the special enrollment period. There's basically four key enrollment periods. That's your initial coverage enrollment period.
So that is the ICEP.
That's the ICEP. Mm-hmm. And that is when you're about to sign up for Medicare the first time. Right. And that normally runs from 3 months before your birthday month. Right. Then it includes your birthday month, and it then runs for 3 months after your birthday month. So it's a 7-month period, and like you like to call it, is 313. Okay?
Right. 313.
So that's when you can initially sign up for Medicare.
Right. I'm sorry to cut you off. Mm-hmm. I just want everyone to understand. If your birthday is the 25th of the month, we're talking about the first of each month. So that's 313, the first of each month. Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's your 65th birthday.
Right.
Okay.
65th birthday.
That's the important piece.
Right.
There's also what's known as the annual enrollment period, or AEP.
AEP.
And as we're talking right now, that is right around the corner because that runs October 15th. Through December 7th of each year. Okay. And during that enrollment period, you can sign up for Medicare coverage if you haven't had it before, and maybe you missed your initial coverage enrollment period, or you can change Medicare coverage from one plan to another. Okay. Or you can also go back to original Medicare. Okay. And again, that runs from October 15th to December 7th each year. Okay. The next enrollment period is the open enrollment period, or the OEP, and sometimes is known as the general enrollment period. Okay. And that OEP runs from January 1 to March 31 of each year.
Right.
And during that time, you can change Medicare. You can change from one Medicare Advantage plan or Part C to another, or you can change from Medicare Advantage back to original Medicare.
Okay.
All right.
And then you can only do that once.
And you can only do that once during that 3-month period.
Right. And I think can we make the statement, we've made it before. Doesn't matter how many plans you sign up for. It's the last plan that takes precedent.
That scenario is for the annual enrollment period,
right.
for
sorry.
October
okay.
15th
okay.
to December 7th.
I'm sorry.
You can sign up for as many plans as you want
right.
during that 7-week period,
right.
but it's the one that you signed up for last,
right.
which is the one that the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, is going to record
right.
as being your selection.
Right.
Okay? And then, as I said, the SEP, or special enrollment period, there are different scenarios that can cause that to happen.
Right.
More familiar to our current time is we've been having a lot of storms and hurricanes and floods and everything. If that affected, if those situations affected people from signing up for Medicare or from changing their plan, that SEP, or special enrollment period, would kick in.
Right.
Or, for instance, if you've been on Medicare and because your income has decreased
right.
because of whatever situation, and you qualify for what's known as extra help,
right.
or low income subsidy,
right.
Which is known as LIS, then you would have a special enrollment period
right.
to change your Medicare plan.
Correct.
If you wanted to.
Correct. And the other one is if you move.
And also, if you move, if
right.
if you change your address from one permanent address to another, that would also cause a special enrollment period
correct.
to activate.
Correct.
For you.
And then if you find yourself, unfortunately, with end-stage renal failure.
Well, end-stage renal failure and end-stage renal disease, that carries its own SEPs.
Okay.
But we'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to confuse you anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Even more information.
Okay. All right. So we have, that was a lot of information. Just want to reiterate. You can either reach out to Medicare.gov.
Medicare.gov.
And I want to reiterate this. I want to say it 100 times. Just repeat. Medicare.gov. Now, in your search engine, it's going to take you to so many places. It's going to be Medicare, small letters, big E, big M, whatever, large, capitalized, whatever. Medicare.gov. We don't want you going down a rabbit trail, ending up in somebody else's giving you information, and then you're signed up for something that you never knew about, okay? Just want to make sure that seniors, I hate to say it, and you've heard it a many times, and it probably makes you very angry and very discouraged, but situations, you become prey, right? And we don't want people preying on you and your ignorance of not knowing something. So please educate yourself, get someone, and don't make any decisions until you've discussed it with someone else of support, right? I used to teach years ago, and I used to speak about the executive board of supporters, right? Who are your executive board of supporters? Who are those people in your life that you can't do anything or make any decisions unless you bring it to them? Now, listen, there are some seniors that don't have anybody, and I totally understand it. You outlived everybody in your family. That's a great thing, I think. However, you still need someone to support you. So who are your executive board of supporters? You should at least have 3 or 4 individuals that you can speak with that are willing to have a conversation and give you a little pushback if you're making decisions that seem a little erratic or irrational, right? So your executive board of supporters. You can also email Dale or myself. You can email Dale at DaleAlexander insurance at gmail.com. That's DaleAlexander insurance at gmail.com. Or you can email the show at livemorewithray@gmail.com. And in all the subject lines, please put Medicare, so we'll know that, you know, the importance of the email.
Right. Well, I know we're coming close to the end.
Yeah, we are. But you put in there, pack it up.
What I wanted to do is just because the annual enrollment period is right around the corner. Again, October 15th through December 7th. I just want to share an approach or some approaches that your listeners and viewers may want to consider during that time. And for many of you who are watching the show, you probably have could be considered a veteran in handling this.
Correct.
But still, it's always good to hear information again and to hear it reinforced.
Okay.
And during the annual enrollment period, what you get to do, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you get to, or what you should do is you should review that plan to see if that plan is going to be the best fit for your healthcare needs for the coming year.
Right, and that's important, right?
That's very important.
Why is that important?
That's important because even though Medicare is for everybody, you are you. Right. And you know what best fits you and what your needs are better than anyone else.
Correct.
And you know, there if you have a caregiver, that caregiver is probably as locked in to your needs as you are.
Right.
But that is your homework to do for yourself, to make sure that the plan you have is going to cover your needs for the upcoming year.
Nice.
Now, the reason that's important is because what makes that important is because each year plans change, and the plan that you're in right now for 2023 could have had some changes during the year that has forced the company that provides that plan to change it for the upcoming year. So
and the doctors,
your doctors, and as we said the last time I spoke with Ray Brown on her show, is the two most important things you can do is to make sure that your primary care physician, your PCP, your main doctor, that doctor who you go to see more than anybody else, is to make sure that they are still covered, they are still in that plan.
Right.
The second most important thing is your specialist, to make sure they're in the plan, and as important as those is to make sure that your prescription drugs are covered in that plan.
Thank you. We're out of time. Bless you. Thank you for listening. See you soon. Bye-bye.